Today we're having a Sel-u-bration. I'm going to turn it over to Annette Bakker in a second to talk about big news. Before we get there, just
let's maybe take a short break, maybe then because otherwise it would be difficult. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry. I guess. So the quick notes for today is that this webinar is closed caption. There is a little closed caption button at the bottom of your screen. Please make sure to turn that on, and there are settings in there to make the text a little bigger if you need it. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll probably post it afterwards. Give us a couple days to properly caption it. If you are not already muted and you're not speaking, please do mute yourself, and that way the sound levels will work better for this webinar. All resources connected to today are at ctf.org/mech. You'll find a press release, you'll find a lot of great materials and videos and other things which we'll talk about on this call today. And if you have questions, please submit them through the chat function at the bottom of the screen. Or if you want to speak, raise your hand and we'll do our best to acknowledge you and we'll go through as we can. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And first person I'm going to turn it over to is Annette Bakker, the president of the Children's Tumor Foundation. Go ahead, Annette.
So first of all, welcome everybody. I see there is over 100 people that have joined today. I think we can all say that Friday was a very, very big day for the NF community. Koselugo, which is a new drug that we will have to learn how to pronounce. We were all getting used to selumetinib, and that's why we wanted to do a Sel-u-bration. So that will have to change going forward. But anyhow, it is the very, very first drug that is approved by the FDA for NF. And as I always say, a first drug for NF means a next drug for NF and a next drug for NF. And we will keep going with this amazing community until we have approved drugs for all manifestations of NF. What I wanted to quickly lay out here is that the drug approval doesn't come by itself. It has taken a lot of work and investments by many, many people, a lot of awful efforts by our patients. And today we have the pleasure to have a couple of these main players on the phone. I just wanted to recognize the lead principal investigators is Dr. Widemann and Dr. Andrea Gross from the National Cancer Institute. And Brigitte has a very short time because we called her very late because we didn't know it ourselves that this was going to happen so quickly. And she agreed that she will be on the phone or on the Zoom to say a couple of words together with Andrea. I also want to make sure that we recognize all the other site PIs who have participated. Michael Fisher from CHOP, Brian Weiss from Cincinnati, Aaron Kim and Marianne Bornhorst. And I think I saw Marianne earlier also on the call from Children's National. And there's also a couple of investors. This is an investment from CTF that Rick can talk about. Our chairman, Rick Horvitz, can talk about together with our vice chair, Tracy Galloway. But there were other investors like Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program, NTAP, led by Jaishri Blakely. The NCI has invested an enormous amount of money also with their intramural program. CTF, also NINDS, was really helped also fund one of those very early studies where Wade Clapp and Nancy Ratner showed that if you inhibit MEK, you shrink plexiform neurofibromas. I'm always very careful with naming names because my anxiety is that I may forget people. So apologize upfront, but I think what I want to do now is maybe quickly hand it over to Brigitte because I know she's on a time crunch to maybe just say a couple of words because she has, without Brigitte, we wouldn't be here, and Andrea, of course. So take it off, Brigitte.
Hi there. Yeah, so I think Annette has a good point. When there's something happening like selumetinib, we want to make sure we don't miss out anyone who has contributed. And we have tried to do this very much from our end and are immensely grateful to so many. But the main point I wanted to get across, and I know Andrea echoes this with me, is to thank the families and the patients that have participated in research, that have gone through more than one clinical trial, that have contributed to the natural history study. They traveled to the NIH and to other sites multiple times and stood by our side when we did not have promising results, and kept going and have really, in particular for the trial that led to approval, heavily invested with multiple visits, lots of evaluations that were purely done for research to convince the FDA that this is really doing something for the patient. So the entire NF team at the NCI and NTAP and CTF and within the DoD, we're so grateful to our patients. And given that this is, I think, a patient call, please know that we very, very much appreciate this. And we were joking, we said, oh, now we have a standard treatment for NF. And as Annette said, now in the next trials, we can measure against this standard. So there's a lot more coming. We know we're far away from a cure, but this is indeed as a major celebratory and a victory that we share with all of you. So thank you very, very much. And I don't know if Andrea wants to add anything, but thanks for the opportunity, Annette, to speak briefly today.
Thank you for joining.
And Andrea is unmuted, so Andrea, you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything much more to add than what you already said, Dr. Widemann, in terms of thanking our patients and families and the entire NF community, other than also to thank you. So I've been doing this, I've been working with Dr. Widemann for the last 5 years, but Brigitte has been working on this for the last 20 years or more on NF and has been so dedicated, and we would absolutely not be here without all of the work that you have done, from the natural history to all of the clinical trials, in collaboration with so many people around the country and around the world. And so just thank you to everyone who's made this possible.
Perfect. Rick, would you want to say a couple of words?
Sure. I don't know if am I on video?
You'll have to turn it on, actually.
Okay, and where is that?
At the bottom left of the screen where it says stop video. Just click that.
It doesn't say that on mine, but oh well, if we have to do without my pretty face, let's see.
It's gonna be harder, but okay.
It's not showing up on my iPad. So I don't want to take up too much time. I think it's pretty obvious that the whole NF community stands on the shoulder of giants and are giants themselves. We have done so much. I've been involved with the Children's Tumor Foundation for almost 30 years. I started sometime in the early 90s, and the foundation's been around for about 40 years. And I remember, and a lot of you have heard this story, it's not made up, it's a real story. We had a Friday night board dinner before the board meeting, which typically occurs on Saturday. So we threw out the thought experiment of what would we do if we had $10 million? And the funny thing is, at that stage, no one really had a super great idea. People were saying, well, we could do this, we could do that, but there wasn't this groundswell of enthusiasm that if we had $10 million, we could do it, because the field was at such a nascent stage at that point that we weren't that close. We hadn't done the basic research that we needed to be able to unfold it towards clinical developments. So it's just kind of amazing to be sitting here after all these years and realize we just hit the mother lode. We just hit an amazing discovery that was the result of all the scientists, clinicians, patients, donors, not just in CTF, but in the whole NF community and beyond, that made this possible. And I just am so grateful for what everyone has done. And it's just so rewarding to think that after all these years wondering how you're going to get the ball across the goal line, we did it. Now there'll be this may be our first touchdown, but it's not going to be our last. We're not only going to refine the MEK inhibitors to find even more efficacious versions of it with less side effects, but we're going to go after the other manifestations of the 3 forms of neurofibromatosis, as well as ultimately trying to come up with a cure. So I just want to thank everybody who's been involved in this process. You cannot overestimate what all these people have done to pull this off. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Fantastic. Tracy, our Vice Chair of the Children's Tumor Foundation, would you like to say a few words, and then I see a Rangason and George Kirk and Jaishri. So I think still have a couple of people if they have a few more minutes. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it wasn't up there before. Showed up.
Now we see your pretty face. Good. Rick.
I would have shaved better.
Well, it's Tracy Galloway, and next to me is McKinnon Galloway. And I think for us, being members of the NF2 community, we're just so excited because we know an organization like the Children's Tumor Foundation can lead us on the path, on the right path to get where we need to get and get there quickly. I want to thank everybody who collaborates to make these things happen. CTF has collaborated with many groups, you know, with NTAP and CI and a bunch of other groups in order to ensure the success of this so that we can get there the fastest way possible. And I'm excited as an NF2 patient. I know McKinnon's excited as an NF2 parent. You know, 10 years ago, Annette, you said we're going to get this done. There were people who were saying that that was never going to happen. It happened. So we know it can be done, and we're ready to get on and fill more drugs in that pipeline, that platform that's been set up, and we're ready. We have patients who are ready. They're ready to volunteer and make some more drugs get FDA approved. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tracy. I also thought, Rang, you were one of the site PIs, so maybe you want to say a little bit about your experience, because I don't think there is any other site PIs on the phone, because it was really last second call, and I'm sorry about that, but it's all a little, you know, it just happened, and we want to celebrate when it's celebratory, right? Not to wait for old news. So, Rang, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thanks so much for this exciting invitation, and I'm thrilled about this finding. I'm so grateful to everyone that participated, my patients, everyone's patients, families, the team at the NCI who has led this study just so remarkably well. I'm just overwhelmed and excited about this, and congratulations to everybody.
Thank you. Jaishri, do you want to say a few words? Jaishri has been participant, but also has been co-investing in this success.
No, I'm behind the scenes, happy to be invited to the party. But I think I'll echo a lot of what's been said, which is that there are a lot of exciting elements about this approval. One is that it's a landmark in the landscape for the condition. And as Rick said, and as Brigitte said, this is one of many important approvals that we can expect now. But I think the other reason we can feel so confident about that is what Tracy said and what Rick said about collaboration. A lot of what went into this for the last decades, and certainly for the last 5 years of the clinical selumetinib journey, has been building the tools that allow the infrastructure for the next phase of the next drug and the next application of this drug. So we already know a lot about this drug, and it's pretty exceptional. And it's just remarkable to see some of the miracles that can happen with it. And we know when it isn't perfect, and we're learning how to do what's next to make it even better for our patients with NF1. And the same pathway is happening with NF2. And we're moving there, believe it or not, with schwannomatosis, where we have real compounds that are showing real efficacy preclinically along the same path. And so I think the selumetinib journey for NF1 really highlights the intense beauty and power of real, sincere collaboration with AstraZeneca, with George in particular, having such a tremendous, compassionate and dedicated leadership role, and Brigitte's brilliance from day one till today, and the whole team really pulling together. So an honor to be involved.
So that brings me to George. So George from AstraZeneca, maybe George, you want to introduce yourself for 30 seconds?
Yeah, thanks. Can you hear me okay, Annette? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for inviting me to this, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, my name's George Kirk. I'm the global product lead for selumetinib, or Koselugo, as it's now called in AstraZeneca. I just wanted to thank everyone on the call, Annette, CTF, the patients, the families, because it's been a real privilege to work in this collaboration. But I think particularly I'd like to thank Dr. Widemann, who approached us back in 2011 with the proposal to do a trial with our MEK inhibitor in patients with NF1 and plexiform neurofibroma. I think without that proposal and the great science behind that proposal, we wouldn't be here today. And I just want to acknowledge the NIH team who have been an absolute pleasure to work with over the years, and also Jaishri, who has inspired the whole AstraZeneca team to get us to where we are today. The last thing I say is I wish it could have been faster. Unfortunately, these things do take time to get drugs approved, but I'm so glad we've managed to get there now. And certainly in AstraZeneca today, everyone's feeling very, very proud that Koselugo is now available in the US for patients with NF1. And I totally agree that this is just the start, Annette. I'm looking forward to the next trials that we do, and the next drugs that are coming through as well. So.
Thank you, George. And there is one person that I really don't want to forget from AstraZeneca's Alison Dye, who has been a go-between, or has played, I would say go-between sounds a little disrespectful, has been really helpful, let's say, in bridging between the CTF and AstraZeneca. So Alison, do you want to say a few words as well? And then I don't know if there's anyone else, please raise your hand if you want to say something. But maybe Alison, I think you are very helpful every time, all the time in making this happen.
Thanks, Annette. I'm sorry, I was going in and out. Everybody, I hope you can see me for the call out. It's been my pleasure to come on in September and really be a newbie to the Sel-u team, and to be able to make this happen. I echo everything that George just said, and it's just a true honor for all of us at AstraZeneca right now. Hi, Kirsta. Hi, Michael.
We're opening up the camera and mic on a bunch of patients who I think are going to say a few things. Just since we have the AstraZeneca folks on here, I know we're getting questions already to our inbox on when. So I don't know if you guys, I know that's still in works, but if you can just sort of let the patient community know the next steps in terms of when they would be able to access Koselugo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Lisa is on the line, if she can talk or not, but I mean, essentially we're approved in the US, we're ready to launch. That should be happening this week. So it should be available as early as end of this week at the latest, I would say, because the supply is there, the capsules are packed, everything's ready to go. It's just a case of getting things set up now. And I know that Lisa, who's our lead in the US, has been reaching out to the community prior to approval. So yeah, it'll be very fast. It'll be this week that the drug will be available to anyone who needs it.
Great. Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Just the.
No, it's okay. It's pretty standard. We can get it going quicker, but I think our target is 5 days from approval. Right. It should be available.
Excellent. I know we have a lot of people raising their hands. We had a few who have really been on a lot of our messaging and sort of storytelling. So we want to turn to a few of those folks right now, if that's okay. We've got Rini Moss and the Moss family. Rini, if you want to. Oh.
I'm here. I had to wipe my eyes. I'm sorry. Gosh, George, to hear you say that Dr. Widemann approached you in 2011 set me off in terms of the waterworks, because that was the year that our son was diagnosed. There's just no words. There's just no words for what this means. And of course, this is the moment it hit me since Friday, right when I'm on screen with everybody. But I just can't thank the team enough from the beginning, from our son's diagnosis, from his plexiform, that's how he was diagnosed for those that don't know it. So he wasn't diagnosed as a baby or an infant. He really presented with that tumor. That was our first very scary introduction to NF. And with the care of Dr. Korf at the UAB NF clinic, followed by a failed chemotherapy attempt that was just a shot in the dark to try to save him, literally with Dr. Reddy And then Dr. Reddy and Dr. Kaur forwarding everything to Dr. Widemann, knowing that everything was in the works from the year that he was diagnosed that set this in motion. There's just no words for the gratitude that I feel for everybody, that our son is still with us. He has his smile, he has his voice, he doesn't have a tracheotomy. He's a broody 14-year-old as he should be. I just want to thank everybody, CTF and everybody who's been a part of this. And now it's time to pay it forward. It really is. Having been in research, we just are so excited that we can now offer this to all the people who desperately need this. And just, I'm so excited to see the improved lives around the world, literally, as a result of this. So thank you, everybody who's made this possible.
Awesome. Kirsta, we're just going to go. There's about 4 or 5 people here who've all raised their hands, so we'd like to give everyone a chance. Kirsta Scharf-Norris.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, everyone. Like Rini, it's sort of surreal still to me. It's no doubt having selumetinib, and Cooper has been able to take it for the last 1.5 years. His tumor not only quit doubling every 18 months, it's shrunk 21%. And it's been life-changing. There really are no other words for it. You know, the approval of selumetinib, now Koselugo, it just makes us so hopeful for Cooper's future. It's certainly still unknown, but there's a huge sense of relief that we don't have to worry about the things we worried about 2 years ago. And it just makes me hopeful for all of the NF heroes now and in the future. And, you know, to echo Rini, we can't thank CTF and AstraZeneca, all the clinical patients and their families who went before in the unknown, the fundraisers, the funders, Cooper's medical team. We just, it's an amazing day. So thank you, everyone.
Great. 1 second. We're going to go to Bill Brooks, who's raised his hand. And Bill is a former board member. And Bill, you should be able to hear you and see you now.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Hear you. Sure.
Great. Well, obviously, on behalf of Lillian and my family, we are super, super stoked about this approval. And Lillian's been a patient in this for over 4 years. And as you just heard about Cooper, she's got over 20% shrinkage. And it's just been an absolute joy to work with the folks at NIH, the Children's Inn, obviously CTF and AstraZeneca to get this far and to make it now available to everyone. You know, we've kind of felt like we were maybe a little bit privileged to be in this trial, to have this for the last 4 years. And now it's just such a blessing that everyone can have access to it. And we appreciate everything that all the folks have done that have been discussed already. And we're just thankful and how fitting that it happened on a Good Friday. So it was a great day. And thanks for everyone for all you've done, Dr. Wiedemann's team, all the participants in the trial so far. And obviously, I think we'll stay in it and measure its long-term effects and hope for more shrinkage. But thank you all very much.
Okay, Kelly Carpenter, you're called on.
Hi, we just wanted to say thank you. This is Travis's 3rd clinical trial. He had the first 2 failed. He had 40% tumor shrinkage, and he just always wanted to be able to give back to the community and make life better for kids, so they don't have to go through whatever he's gone through with all the heartaches of NF. So what do you want to say, Travis?
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody, the fundraisers, the donors, the doctors, the scientists, the researchers, the medical staff teams. It takes a lot to put it all together. And I mean, we're still crying tears of joy. So thank you. And to Annette, thank you very much.
Great. Just looking at questions that are coming in here.
While Simon is looking for questions, I just want to make sure that everybody here on the call knows how much of a special team we have at CTF. When last week I called and asked them for a quick, I called it, can you quick hop up Zoom, kind of a Zoom with the whole team? I can tell you that there was not one dry eye on that screen. So it's just for you to know that the people that are at CTF are special, and for them, this is not a job. They were all saying, everybody, that was almost like in, as one big song together, how happy and how excited they were to inform their families of this great news. So thank you, staff. I just want to make sure. And thank you, my dear board, who is always there at the craziest hours of the day to support us and to help us through sometimes times that are a little more difficult. So thank you, Rick. Thank you, Tracy. And thank you, all the board members, former, present, future, that are with us. You help us make this happen.
Well, let's go to Lillian Brooks. She's
Oh,
on.
there you are. Hello.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I'm so grateful to have been a part of this trial. You know, I grew up, and it was until I was 15 when I enrolled in the trial, and being told your whole life that there's nothing you can do but let the tumors grow and there's no cure. It really does affect you. So when I finally heard that I had shrinkage, I cried right there in the doctor's office, and it has just made such an impact on my life. I've been able to go to college, which we never knew if I would be able to do because we weren't sure if I'd be able to be away from my parents, which now I'm going to college 9 hours away in Alabama, and I love it. And I've had about 20% shrinkage, and I'm just so grateful for it. And, you know, when I started in the trial, I said, even if it doesn't help me, I'd hope to help others through whatever they find. So I'm just very grateful to have been a part of this trial. And I'm so happy that it finally got approved so that it can help others.
That's awesome, Lillian. Thank you. One of the questions we have here from Teresa Williams, she just wants to know, will this be available worldwide? So I don't know if our AZ folks want to comment on that.
Yeah, so obviously right now we've got approval in the US only. We have submitted regulatory applications in Europe, and that process for review has already started in Europe. We're hoping to have it available in Europe early next year. We've also submitted in Brazil for various reasons as well. We're hoping to get approval there this year. So it started, and we'll be submitting for approval in a small number of countries around the world that will act more as hubs, if you like, for areas around the world. And those submissions will start in the second half of this year. So our aim is to try and make it as widely available as possible. US is first, Brazil hopefully will be next, and then Europe next year.
So we have a few questions about who this is for. So I don't know if you want to address this, George, or if Andrea, I see you're still on. So one of the questions involves, because they saw the press release refers to pediatric, so they want to know if it'll be for adults, and then just a broader question, is this for all NF1 population? So.
Andrea, do you want to start, and I can?
Sure. Yeah. So, you know, the study that we did and what was submitted to the FDA was a study for pediatric patients. So for patients less than 18, there's ongoing research and ongoing studies for adults and other patients, but the indication that the FDA has approved is for patients less than 18. And I'll let George speak more to that.
Yeah, quite simple, really. I think we recognize that this occurs, or the disease is also occurring in the adult population as well. And we're already talking to Dr. Gross and Dr. Widemann about trying to do a trial that allows us to get approval in the adult population. There are other companies doing trials in the adult population as well. So I think it won't be too long before adult patients with NF1 plexiform neurofibromas hopefully will have an option as well. That's certainly a patient population we're interested in.
Great. Thomas Obrook, you raised your hand. I'm unmuting you if you want to.
Let me see if I can unmute now.
There you go. There you go, Thomas.
That did answer my question. I can't thank you folks enough for including me in this. I've been at this for 35 years with my son Matthew, and multiple surgeries, lots of work here in Michigan, meeting Dan Gilbert and people up in this area. It's been something for my wife and I. And as we look back and listen to folks here, we feel your pain, having gone through this for a long time. But that was the question. Matt's 35 now. He would love to volunteer for a trial. He's really impacted by this, by NF1. And it looks like he's not a candidate for this drug at this time. That is my question.
So this is Andrea Gross again. As George said, we 100% recognize that this disease spans the entire lifespan and that plexiform neurofibromas affect patients from infants all the way through adulthood. We do have some initial data that has been presented from our adult trial of selumetinib that does seem promising in terms of potentially having benefit for patients, but unfortunately that study wasn't as far along as the pediatric one. As you heard, Dr. Widemann really started with the pediatric trial back in 2011, and that let us push this forward more quickly for the pediatric patients. But that doesn't mean we're not committed to thinking about it and working towards it for the adult patients, because we absolutely recognize that it is as much an issue, if not more, for some, and want to be able to move that forward.
Well, they got to do a trial apparently, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's George Kirk again. Yeah, please just watch this space. We're talking about trying to get a trial started, or an AstraZeneca sponsored trial in the adult population. So, as I say, watch this space. We do want to get a trial going as soon as we can in that population.
Well, appreciate that. And if you're looking for volunteers, Matthew's ready.
Thank you.
So George, just a practical question. If you say, watch the space, it's going to happen, let's put it that way, right? What are we talking about time-wise? This year, next year, 2 months, 2 weeks?
I think both.
So impatient in it.
I think Dr. Gross and other investigators on the call know how long it is to actually get a clinical trial up and running. But Annette, we've started that discussion with Dr. Widemann and her team. We've actually got a day set up very soon to go through what that trial could look like. Timing wise, I'd love to get this trial started by early next year at the very latest. That's the kind of timeline I'm looking at, because it takes time to set up an actual study. And the key thing for us is we want this study to lead to an approval, just as the SPRINT trial that Dr. Widemann and Dr. Gross ran in the pediatric patients led to the approval we're celebrating today. So that's our focus, to make sure it's a study that can get us an approval in the adult population as well.
Right. No, I just want to give people some kind of time frame, right? The 2 weeks was a joke, but just to give people.
George, you've got a lot of volunteers in the chat. We've got 3 or 4 people in their 40s and 50s raising their hands. So
that's great.
We're going to turn over to Diane Owens. Diane's son is the one that you see in that Sel-u-bration that went out today, and that was Rini Moss's son Philip, who was in the other work the other day, and Chrissy Rad's daughter Jane, who's in the video we've been pushing out. But Diane, go ahead.
Oh my goodness, I cannot thank you all enough for what you've given us. You've given our family and so many other families with NF hope. And that's not something that you can buy in a store. And so Alex is here with me. I don't know if you guys can see us or not.
We can't. You'll have to turn on your camera.
Oh. There you go. Yeah. Alex is here with me, and when he heard I was on a call with all of the researchers and the doctors and the clinicians and the other kids with NF who went through trial, he wanted to say something. What did you want to say?
I want to say thank you.
For what?
For making a cure.
For making a cure for his tumors. So thank you guys so much. That's it.
That's great. All right, Stuart Coleman. Stuart Coleman,
Yes, hi everyone. Thanks for doing this research and coming up with this great drug. Is there any evidence yet that this will have any impact on other tumors, such as the low-grade gliomas, optic nerve growths, anything like that?
Yeah, I can take this one. So again, this is Andrea Gross. There is actually been some really exciting work in low-grade gliomas and NF1 for selumetinib. That's been a published study that showed that it does seem to be effective for those tumors. Again, it hasn't been compared to the standard of care yet, which is what's happening right now. There's another trial comparing it to the standard chemotherapy for those tumors to see, is it better, is it worse, is it the same as that standard treatment? But it is really exciting that it does seem to have some impact on those tumors.
Thank you.
Someone asked, how do we get information for adults with NF1 to volunteer for clinical studies? I don't know if Annette, you want to handle that, or if I don't know if our clinical team's on.
Well, I think it's better to ask this question to our clinical people that are on, Andrea, but I also saw that Miriam Bornhorst is on, who is also from the Children's National site.
Yeah, I would say clinicaltrials.gov is always probably the most reliable and most up-to-date way to get information about what clinical trials are available. That has information about the specific trial, as well as the contact information if you're interested in participating in the trial. So that's a good place to keep looking, and you can always search there for plexiform neurofibromas or neurofibromatosis, and our study and any future studies will show up there.
And then maybe in addition to that, if people are registered through our NF registry, Pamela Knight, our clinical program director, will always email and inform people. So you don't have to go look yourself. You will get the information through us as soon as we find it on the clinicaltrials.gov websites. We will always make sure that we translate it into English and make sure that the NF patients get it through the registry. So if you register, we will make sure that you will be informed.
Yep, and I've got Pam unmuted. I don't know if Pam, if you want to add
Yeah.
anything.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Yes, actually, the NF registry, which is at nfregistry.org, has all the NF relevant clinical trials listed. You don't have to have registered to see it. You'll see at the top of the homepage, clinical trials. And if you just click on that, there's a list of, it basically draws from clinicaltrials.gov every week, but only the NF relevant trials. So it's just another, place to go and look. But also if you do register, you can get notified by email about trials that might be of interest to you.
And we've got a question here from Jessica Soto. Are there any clinical studies for patients with NF2?
Yes, there are quite a few. I don't have them on the tip of my tongue, but if you again go to our website, ctf.org, you can look at clinical pipeline, and that shows you where we are today as far as all types of NF. Oh, there we go.
And that's going to show us. So yes, that's great. Annette, you're on mute.
Okay, so this is the NF2 clinical pipeline. So you can see that there is quite a lot of NF2 drugs as well. And in fact, one of the other, let's say, side effects of this approval is that NF is really on the map now. Simon and I this morning were already on a call with the journal editor from a journal called BioWorld. Or BioCentury, Simon, correct me?
BioWorld.
BioWorld, yeah. So where we really are going to get visible now as an NF community. And as you can see, this list of clinical trials for NF2 will only be growing. And let me just point out that even selumetinib is in the NF2 clinical trial list. So there is a lot of activity now. Pam, who was speaking before, she is our clinical program director. I don't know, Pam, if you want to comment on this slide that you made.
Just that the number of different clinical trials has probably tripled in the last 10 years, I would guess. Some of them have been tried for a long time, but there's a lot that are brand new, at least, as far as I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Such as the selumetinib, the crizotinib, even aspirin, combinations of Avastin with other drugs. You can see under the target column, there's lots of different targets that are part of NF2 that they're, trying to affect with these drugs. So there's just so many more possibilities than there were even a short time ago. And more to come.
And all these clinical trials are on the website. So it's not that we're more than happy to send you this slide as well, but they're also listed on the website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you go to ctf.org and in the research section, you're going to see 3 columns in the menu. At the bottom of the middle column, you'll see somewhere near the bottom, I think, because I'm just doing it off memory. It says clinical trial pipeline, and you'll see the trials for NF1, NF2, and schwannomatosis actually as well. I don't see any other questions. So Salvo, our Chief Science Officer, just placed it in the chat. Salvo, I'm going to unmute you if you'd like to say anything. If there's anyone else who would like to say anything or has questions, please raise your hand or put it in the chat.
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for doing everything, for making the drug.
Thanks, Philip.
We're on Central Time here. We just finished homeschool for the week, so we're enthusiastic. We promise. We're just a little like vagued out right now.
And Salvo, I just unmuted you. Do you want to? I don't know if you want to add anything, Salvo.
Hi. I just want to echo everything that's been said. We've been, working from home for the last 4 weeks. Very productive, but very stressful at the same time. But we never lost focus. We were waiting for this news. We knew it was very close, and all of a sudden it came on Friday. So we were so happy. It's the culmination of the first very tangible results that we achieved, and we are all so proud of this. But we'll do more, and there is so much that we are doing that I'm sure there will be more of these celebrations in the future. So thank you, everybody, and who actually contributed in some way or another, just raising $1 or $1 million, or doing all of the research and experiments. So exciting, and then we're so happy. Yeah, thank you.
We've got a question probably for Andrea. Does this drug shrink other tumors / cancers?
Yeah, so again, great question. And the answer is we're learning what this drug does in terms of other tumors. As I mentioned before, the low-grade glioma, so the optic pathway gliomas, it does seem to have some benefit for. We have a study going on right now for the skin tumors along with the UAB team for the cutaneous neurofibromas. And then, looking at it for other tumors in terms of whether it would by itself be effective for other types of NF-related cancers, things like MPNST. We don't think that by itself it's probably enough for some of the more aggressive tumors, but we are hopeful that potentially in combinations, it might be something that we could use in the future, and that's something that we are working for. And just before I got, my eyes were tearing up when so Philip and Travis and Lillian and those that I can see, and I'm sure there's lots of other patients on the call. Again, I know Dr. Widemann said this at the beginning of the call, but we are so grateful to you for all that you've done and your participation and getting us to this point. We could not have done this without you. So thank you. And thank you to all of you who participated. And Tracy or McKinnon, I see you up there, and all the other patients and families, again, who I can't see on the little panel thing here, but we are just beyond grateful to you. This is really for you and for all the years of trying and working and hoping.
Thank you, Andrea. There's a question here for
I think Cooper just came on TV.
Oh, Cooper, I didn't see you before. Yeah. Hi.
No, he just came on.
Hello.
There he is. Hey, Cooper.
Hello.
There was Suzanne, I'm going to get to you in 1 second. There's a question here for, has there been any confirmation from insurance companies that they'll pay for the drug? I think it's a little early for that, but I don't know if anyone can take that. Or has any thoughts on insurance companies? Nope. Okay.
I won't make their life sufficiently miserable. That
yeah, I mean, to be clean, right?
I'm counting on our clinician friends here. They are troopers. Now that we get this drug approved,
yep,
we'll push.
Yeah, we will certainly push. Suzanne Earle, I think you're unmuted.
Hi, I try to get I'm like Rick, I'm probably challenged. I can't seem to get my picture up there, but that's fine too. I have been involved also like Rick for the last 30 years, and it's very exciting to me to see what we have accomplished over all these years. I was at that meeting where Rick said that we had asked about the $10 million as a member of the board. I was there too. And my daughter Erin had NF2, and it's just, I can't thank enough all the researchers and of course AstraZeneca and all the other people that have tried so hard to make this happen. And it's just, I tear up, and it's a wonderful thing. So I want to thank everybody and Annette for pushing forward. And I have a big smile on my face, even if you can't see me. And if you could tell me how to do it, I would undo it, but I don't have. I tried to undo it. Rick, how'd you get it undone? I don't know.
I don't know. It finally popped up and I took it. I want to say a special thanks too to AstraZeneca, because all you do is read in the paper. They're always bashing pharma. These are the people who made this happen, and it's not a cheap process. And I just want to give a special shout out, to counter some of the negativity you hear about it. Nothing guarantees them that a drug's going to work out, and they take huge risks for us and work very hard. And I just felt that they're entitled to a special thank you.
I completely agree. I really
Absolutely.
agree.
And this is Andrea from the NIH team. They have been so fantastic to work with. The whole AstraZeneca team has been really wonderful in this whole process. So George, thank you.
So by the way, guys, don't go anywhere because we have a couple of other drug plans here.
Quick question from someone. How does this new medication compare to Mekinist?
Is that for me to answer? Hi.
Okay, yeah. You're our resident expert.
Apparently, although I think Aaron, feel free to jump in. So we don't have head-to-head comparisons, so we can't say one or the other. We know that other MEK inhibitors like Mekinist, which is also known as trametinib, have shown benefit in plexiform neurofibromas, as have a couple of other ones that are undergoing study right now. Whether or not it's better or worse, we really can't say. We think it's probably just a little bit different in terms of maybe the side effects that they get, and whether or not there's a formulation that people tolerate, but we can't say one is better than the other right now.
Okay. I'm not seeing any other questions. We'll give another minute or two if anyone else has anything else that they'd like to ask or say, and then otherwise we'll probably close out. I think given all the news about COVID lately, this was such a nice surprise to have this come out right in the middle of I think good news that we all needed, I think, right now. So so we're very excited about that. I'm not seeing any other questions. I don't know if any of the folks who are on camera, anyone from Astra want to say anything, or Tracy or Rick or anybody else, and then certainly Annette, of course, to close us out.
Of course, she never shuts up.
So George, again, we've said it, but a big thank you to everybody involved in this process. And it is like a Cecil B. DeMille production. This is a huge cast of characters who have made this happen. And they're all critical to it, and it wouldn't have gotten done without them. And I just, I feel blessed to be part of it, be associated with a team of people like this.
Just one more thing, I just thanked AstraZeneca because they're incredibly helpful. The FDA also worked with us every step of the way too. And I just want to, I think a lot of times they get a bad rap, again, just like you were saying, pharma sometimes does for, not going quickly enough or anything. They worked with us so well every step of the way, making this happen. So we are just super grateful to the FDA as well for really working with us to get to where we are.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you say that, Andrea, because we have been collaborating very closely with the FDA, with the patient. In fact, the patients have been collaborating with the FDA, and it is, they always had the name that they were the judges in kind of, the tough guys in the room. And I think these people are really special. They want to make sure that safe and effective drugs make it to the patients. And they have been amazing throughout the whole process as well. So I completely thank you for bringing that up. George, I don't know if you can say anything about the plans in Asia. Is there, because we have CTF trademarked in China now, and I've already received at least 50 WeChats this weekend over what will happen in China. Can you say anything about your plans in Asia, or is it still too early to talk about that?
No. It's a great question, and actually, the good news is in China, we submitted an application to start our clinical trial there, and that application was approved back in February. So we're hoping to initiate that clinical trial in June or July this year in Chinese patients. That's both in pediatric and adult patients, Annette. And then in Japan, we also have plans to start a small trial in pediatric patients as well, beginning of next year. So very much, China and Japan, we're on a path to regulatory submissions in those countries, but we do have to do some specific studies in Chinese and Japanese patients as well. And I know we're coming to the end of the call. I just wanted to say, for me, and Dr. Gross said it all really, to make this happen, this was really a collaboration across, from AstraZeneca, NIH, CTF, NTAP, so many people who collaborated to make this happen. But to be honest with you, without the patients, none of this would have happened. And for me, those are the people I wanted to thank, is the patients and the families, because without you guys willing to participate in these trials, we would not be sitting here today. So, my heartfelt thanks goes out to the patients and their families.
Thank you, George. That's wonderful. We have Noreen O'Leary. Raise your hand. Noreen, go ahead.
Hi. Can you see me? I don't know if you can. Hold on. Sorry. Hello?
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Yep.
Oh, okay. I just want to say thank you guys so much. I'm actually in tears here. I have NF1. My mother had it. My mother passed away 2 years ago. And my two twins, that's great. My twins that are going to be 21 at the end of this month, Anthony and Ryan, they both have NF1. They're, fighting survivors and just had tumor removals. So this is like the best birthday present in the world for them. And my birthday is the day after, so it's a great birthday present for me, for them, and for Angela and Julie in the New York office. I just want to say, as I was sitting here, I joined the New York City Marathon team, and I just donated some of my own money. And I just don't even know what to say. I'm just like so humbled and grateful to everybody involved. It just feels like surreal just even saying this, because me growing up, which I'm going to be 53 years young, was just sort of like, oh, you have these tumors, you just have, that's it. They're bumps, and to this day I'm self-conscious about that. So it's so amazing to hear that this, children are not going to have to go through this, and hopefully it'll go into adults. So I just thank you, everybody involved. Thank you so much. And go Team NF.
Thank you, Noreen. That's we didn't get to see your camera, but we can hear it in your voice, and I think you speak for everyone. The emotion and the passion for what everyone is working on here. I've unmuted Veronica Ganaris. You also asked, you raised your hand. Veronica, go ahead.
This whole webinar later, and if so, where? What's the website, please?
Oh, okay, Veronica. So we'll be posting this on our social media and on ctf.org. So
okay,
afterwards we'll post.
Thank you so much. I'll still be here right now. So
okay, thank you, Veronica. I think we're coming to our end. Is there anyone else who'd like to add anything?
Maybe one quick thing is that I also want to thank all the other NF organizations that have been lobbying and helping us on the Hill to make sure that over all those years we always had stable CDMRP funding. As you know, the Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program has been over the last 7 years a $15 million program, which took a lot of work for all of our organizations, CTF included, to go to the Hill a couple of times a year. A lot of patients join as well to go to the Hill and work really hard to convince Congress and Senate and all the other bodies to make sure that they keep funding CDMRP, because also CDMRP has made very big investments in MEC in general, and showing that MEC is really important for tumor shrinkage. So I also wanted to thank all the other NF organizations that have tirelessly lobbied together with us to make sure that we get that funding. And Naba, of course, who is the program leader at CDMRP, and Jill, who is the program leader at NINDS, the NF program leader. So thank you. Tracy, I saw you raise your hand.
Yes, I'd like to say one thing. I think Connie Sorman, our friend Connie Sorman, in her blog today said something that was so important, and it is so true. As a parent, when your child is years ago, when your child was diagnosed with NF or McKinnon, it was mine 10 years ago. 11 years ago. Oh, 11 years ago. To hear the words that we don't have anything, that's tough. And never again will an NF parent have to hear those words, because there's options, and we are opening more and more options every day. And so I thank you. Thank you, Children's Tumor Foundation. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, AstraZeneca. Thank you for believing in us and our patients. We appreciate it.
I think we're getting to an end. Again, thank you to AstraZeneca. I think the winner of the greatest time zone is actually George Kirk from Astra. That accent gives away where he is. He's actually in the UK. So it's, I don't know if it's 9 or 10 there. I don't know my time difference, but thank you, George, for calling in when it's probably past your bedtime. So we appreciate your doing that. And of course, Allison and everyone else and all the clinicians. Some have left because they actually have other jobs today too. They're off and running. So thank you, Brigitte and Andrea, who I think had to leave, and everyone who's called in today. We think this worked pretty well. We're still trying to figure out in this new age of Zoom how to get everyone's cameras unblocked at the same time but muted. So we'll figure that out for the next time. We're going to have more of these. Stay tuned if you look at, just since I've got you all on camera, in the next, I just realized I'm hiding my camera by accident. This Friday, we're doing a special draw Moxie and Sparks. This is great for your kids. Since you all have kids at home, or a lot of folks have kids at home, just watch our social media for an invite for that. And then we've also just, we're in talks today about having a webinar either next week or the week after on stress and coping with in this age of COVID and for people with NF. So we'll be announcing that pretty soon too, another service. So with that, I'm going to turn it to Rick, our chairman, and then to Annette to close us out. So Rick.
Okay, I just want to thank you all, and for all the parents out there with kids, just remember, in 20 years we'll be looking back and they will be running the world. A group of kids who were homeschooled by day drinkers. So this has been such a great day, a great week. So I don't know what else. I don't think there is anything else to say. We've said it all. The biggest one is thank you to the whole team.
Thank you, everybody. Carry the one and end in F.
Just one last thing, is absolutely humbling to serve such a community as your community. The NF patients are special, and we are very blessed to be able to work so hard for you guys. It's the whole foundation is humbled to do that, honestly.
And the most important thing is that we've just started. This isn't the end, this is the beginning.
That is exactly what Gideon Bullock said a couple of years ago. Well, he said, once we get that first drug approved, that's a snowball effect. And then you will be able to see all the other drugs coming. And I can tell you that Salvo Marco and I get daily calls from companies that want to work on NF, that want business decks so they can present to their executive management, et cetera, et cetera. So as Rick said, this is just the start.
And that was going to be the last word, except that he raised his hand just in time. Ken Linkus, go ahead, Ken.
Simon, thank you so much. Lori just got in from work. I didn't check my email soon enough. Oh my God, all the wonderful faces. I haven't seen you guys in so long. And you know, I've been sharing all the news about this triumph. And Lori and I just couldn't be happier to belong to such an incredible family. So thank you all. All right, thanks for giving me a chance just to say something.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. And actually, Ken has been a longtime supporter of CTF, and also of Cupid's on the run. And our partners at Cupid's are on. Amy Boulos, and she's been chatting away here too. So thank you also to Cupid's for all the great work they do in supporting NF research. And now I'm going to turn it to Annette to really
Gotcha.
help us out. So
Thanks.
Go ahead, Annette.
I think everything was said. So I just want to, enjoy, be happy for now, and be even happier going forward.
And be safe.
And be safe. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day, and
thanks.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.